How did I find Vidme? Give me just a moment because I have 3 marshmallows for this roundup. Here we go. Generally speaking, when I found Vidme, I wasn't entirely looking for an alternative to YouTube. I don't think I specifically was even, but I think what I was looking for was ways to depict YouTube and ways to understand it, or ways to realize what was going on with YouTube. But that mistakenly got me to the point where I ended up finding creators and channels and videos that were talking about Vidme on YouTube. And many people who have either mentioned it or didn't want to start YouTube anymore have eventually went to Vidme for the while that they did, or even until it shut down. But when they first started going to Vidme and mentioning Vidme, I got curious enough to go there myself, and that is when I started finding all these creators and videos and channels on Vidme that were interesting. So I did review some of them without an account, and got to the point where I started picking out an account. And from then on, there my experience with Vidme started to uprise. What was your experience like? Here goes the second one. I took time interacting with much of the community of Vidme. Long before I even started my actual content creative ways, I actually commented for 7 months straight. But when I did make content, I was very proud of myself. I took the time to realize that even though I wasn't at the moment a verified creator, and I technically never was the entire time, I actually managed to be very skilled and even inventive with how the ways I make content and how I persevered as a creator, and managed to get a few comments along the way. But nonetheless, I managed to create videos I liked a lot, experimented with different kinds of content, and was proud of the way that the user interface encouraged me in some ways that I never thought I could, and in some other ways, even the idea of me encouraged me to make more videos, and that it made me very proud of the moment of learning to be a content creator, knowing that Vidme actually had kickstarted a lot of content creation ways. I hardly content created on YouTube before I did Vidme, so Vidme was technically my very first time as a content creator, legitimately speaking. And one of the best ways I describe Vidme is that it's more like a camping experience. You just go in, make what you need, you get back out, and you take what you get from it, whether you liked it or not. And that's a very astounding, distinguishing, and very interesting way to see Vidme, in my opinion. And what did I do after Vidme? Third in a row. I took quite a break from content creation. What I did was I took like 8 months straight, not making content, not even on YouTube. And I just decided to take my life in my own hands again, even after Vidme was technically one of the other ways I did that. But I took life in my own hands and tried to be exploring once again for about almost a year, like 8 months straight. And by the time I came back to YouTube to make more content, by the time I decided to make more content anyways, I returned with new kinds of content. I teased a little bit at the old videos I did in Vidme and maybe before that. And that would have made eventually to the point where I did the very first part collab of this type of collab with Pokematic the first year of 2018, and I became a part of the NewTubers Discord, which is a NewTubers Fetch community on subreddit, the subreddit on Reddit, and the Discord chat server that they have, where they are a very critic-worthy, a very engaging community you can make friends with, and you can even just learn to be a better creator at the same time, but just not being spammy all that. But yeah, that's where I've been after Vidme. So this has been my second part collab for the camping atmospheric circle framing device collab type of this collab. So second year I've done this, and I'm very glad to be a part of this next one if I am. And be sure to thank Pokematic for the whole editing process. He's been at this last time, and I'm sure he'll be at it again. Take care, everyone.